Joel Kolander from Rock Island Auctions is on next to talk about the fine art of collecting firearms.
But first, we are proud to partner with the National Concealed Carry Association as a 10-ring partner. NCCA exists to serve the Second Amendment community by providing a nationwide network of 2A advocates. They offer elite and self-defense and concealed carry training from the nation's top instructors, and they provide rock-bottom prices on the best selection of gear and accessories. You can join them today. Members get great prices and free shipping. Learn more about them at nationalconcealedcarryassociation.com.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk to Joel Kolander from Rock Island Auction. Joel, are you there?
Yeah, sure am. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm getting ready for deer shotgun season in Illinois next weekend. So
nice. I think you guys just got your first snow too, didn't you?
A little bit. Thankfully, nothing's sticking too much.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck out there.
Thank you.
First off, let's start with the name Rock Island Auction. Why is it called Rock Island?
We are located in Rock Island, Illinois. Also, borrows a little bit. That's the home of the Rock Island Arsenal. That started sort of our metro area, the Quad Cities area. So, and of course, a lot of people know them from their M1903s and various other milsurp goodies they've purchased throughout the year. So, it seemed pretty fitting for a firearms auction house.
So that's actually my next question. What exactly is Rock Island Auction?
We are the number one firearms auction house in the world, and we have been since about 2003. That goes for the sheer number of guns. That goes for the dollars worth of guns. Almost any way you can measure it. Nobody tops Rock Island Auction Company as far as for a firearms auction house. And
that's all. That's the only type of auction you guys do is firearms.
Yeah, there's firearms. There's basically anything gun guys would like. So you might find, you'll find some militaria in there. You'll find some bayonets. You'll find uniforms. Not very often, but you also find ammo. You'll find accessories. Every once in a while, some military vehicles, some tanks, some Class 3, some NFA items. You just never know what you're going to find.
Now, are they live auctions or online auctions, or how does that work?
A little bit of both, actually. So we have, and it's something we cater to gun owners of sort of every stripe, every level of collecting. So whether you're looking for the best of the best, like 7-figure firearms, or whether you're looking for a $500 Glock, we're going to have that in one of the various auction formats, two of which have a live audience. Our online auctions, which we call our arms and accessories, those are those no live audience. So it's just either call in or we have a live streaming software as well that you can use right through our website.
7-figure. So what's an example of a 7-figure firearm?
Well, this last September, we sold a pair of pistols that had belonged to Alexander Hamilton.
Oh, wow.
Those sold for $1.15. Last December, we sold Teddy Roosevelt's silver-plated Colt single-action army. That sold for $1.46. There's been a number. There's been a string, and it's really, really encouraging for the firearms market. Guns that reached $1 million were far and few between, and here we're doing it several times a year almost for probably the last 2 or 3 years. So it's been really encouraging for collectors.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I was going to ask about, too, because, reading, I get True West magazine because I like cowboys type stuff. But they mentioned, it might be you guys in there, and in most issues there's auction information. And it's interesting because, like you were just saying, a lot of, I'm seeing guns that were auctioned off in the 6 figures, and just, primarily single-action handguns that were associated with Billy the Kid and with Pat Garrett and people like that. And pretty interesting that you guys come across that stuff.
Yeah, the Colts and Winchesters are definitely our blue chip guns. For lack of a better term, those are the ones that are regularly drawing high prices. It can either be one that's associated, it's got some sort of real close historical tie. It's associated with somebody whose name you know, or it's just art. There's no other way to put it. It's been engraved, or it's been gold plated, or it's been embellished and somehow preserved for 140 years to end up looking like it does today with us.
So, Joel, where do you get a lot of these weapons? Are they from families that, maybe the husband or the wife who's been the collector passes on, and the family just wants to bring it to the market, and that's why some of these unusual guns are starting to pop up?
We do. Yep, they're all from across the country, even some international consignments as well. But yeah, a lot of times you're dealing with older gents who either this was their retirement plan all along.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to sell it and watch the benefits of that money come in and benefit their family, or they've passed and we're dealing with an estate and a widow and trying to really help their family out and get the most for those guns.
What's your top firearm that has maybe not necessarily brought the largest amount of money, but really kind of puts you guys on the map?
That's a good one. The one that's been getting actually recently. So I guess top dollar amount would be a Colt Walker. We called it the Danish Sea Captain Walker. It's actually been called that in a book or two because it was sold to a Danish sea captain by Samuel Colt. It still has today its original bill of sale from Samuel Colt.
Wow.
He took it across the sea to Europe, and when the Nazis were invading, they actually buried this gun and its original case in their garden, so the Nazis wouldn't get it. Wow. And again, it's one of those things. How did this survive to the current day? That brought $1.87 million still in its original case.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that was a doozy. But I mean, anything that has a name to it gets the attention. Alexander Hamilton, Annie Oakley, Teddy Roosevelt, Buffalo Bill, you name it. It's gonna bring the names and some mentions in True West.
Do you do the authenticity? I mean, do you do the examination to make sure that the firearm is authentic?
I personally don't, but yeah, we have to have a ironclad chain of provenance before we can claim that something is what it is. And I mean, we do want to make the most money for our consigners, but never at the expense of misrepresenting a gun or having buyers feel that, this is a shady business. No. It's got to be ironclad.
Right.
That's pretty impressive.
I told you collecting was good.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they say there's three different. See what you think about this, Joel. They say there are three different kinds of gun owners. There's there are hunters, there are shooters, and there are collectors. And hunters don't shoot or collect. Collectors don't hunt or shoot, and shooters don't hunt or collect.
I might be the exception. I do all three.
You do all three? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you noticed though that is there a culture difference? People that are buying $100,000, $200,000 firearms. Is it are they more gun people or are they more collectors or is it just across the board?
You can find some of each. I mean, especially once you get into those higher price points. You're definitely going to find some collectors. In fact, mostly collectors, just from where the firearms market stands. The top of firearms collecting you can get into for, like we said, $2 million, as opposed to Ferraris and things, which are Basquiat paintings or whatever, like $43 million. So it's not the investors getting in on it. For the most case, it's going to be collectors, occasionally museums. We do find a difference, though, between, I think most hunters are shooters. I mean, you got to sight in, you got to like sitting behind a trigger, you got to like the gentle art, if you will, of being able to sight up and pull a trigger, whether that's on a duck or a pheasant or an 8-point,
So if somebody
when it comes to collecting, I was going to say when it comes to collecting, you either have room in your safe for like the really, really practical stuff, or you're making more room for, you've got all that already. And now it's time for something you really liked as a kid or something you saw in a movie or something grandpa had,
So what's the number one thing you could advise the people that are listening to this show right now if they happen to have a collectible? What would you advise them not to do to this firearm? And I'm talking about cleaning it or what have you. Is there any no-nos that you would recommend?
I mean, that's the first part. Get it valued before you would do anything to it.
Right.
If it doesn't, because obviously now the cleaning's a soft spot. We generally recommend not to clean anything, especially if you don't know, especially if you don't know the value. Obviously, there's a certain time when, if you don't clean or take steps to restore or preserve a gun, it's going to be gone forever. So there needs to be some steps taken. But for the most part, don't clean it. Don't sell it if you don't know the value. Even if you think it's a really good deal, don't do that. Some people have your best interest at heart, and there's a lot that don't.
Really?
I know.
I know. It's hard to believe.
I would have never thought that. Yeah. Well, and because, a lot of people get so emotional when it comes to collecting. And, doing the due diligence is paramount. So do you charge for these inspections? Like, say, if someone was to send you a pistol or what have you, is there a fee to do this examination? Because I know in the car business there is, where they'll send a guy out, he'll take a picture of the car, and he'll drive it and do a complete, 10-page report on it.
Mm-hmm.
You have that in the gun industry as well?
Not currently. There are steps we take, because if it is authentic, and a consignor can stand to make money, of course, we take a percentage of that sale for our fee, so we could stand to make money as well. So it's in our best interest and the consignor's best interest if we give at least a precursory look at this thing and say, hey, is this really what all it's chopped up to be, or is it, it's just another story?
Exactly. What's the website?
www.rockislandauction.com.
How often do you do auctions?
Anymore, it's tricky. About a little more than 18 auctions a year.
Oh, wow. Okay, so people should get on that site and stay up to date. I'm sure you can, get the newsletter and that information sent to you as an alert.
Oh yeah, and all our social media channels are up there. You can sign up for emails and make sure you know when an auction's coming. We do a pretty good job of making us think when that's about to happen.
So we're about to go to commercial here, but we're gonna on the other side here. Want to talk to you more about Rock Island Armory, Rock Island Auctions. That probably happens a lot, doesn't it?
We do get that.
That's okay. Hey, if you have legal matters that involve firearms then you need to call our attorney, John Dillon. Especially if you have questions on red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you need to know that your guns are California compliant. Call our trusted firearms attorney, John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun laws. Call 760-642-7150 or visit his website at DillonLawGP.com. So we got Joel Kolander on the line from Rock Island Auction, and he's giving us tips on what to do and how to do it when it comes to the gun industry.
Gun auctions.
Gun auctions. So if a family member does have a large collection, then all they'd have to do is contact you. Now, you're located out of state, no doubt. So how would somebody, say, in California get in touch with you, and how would that work out? Do you travel, or you just do everything off of, photos and videos and things?
Yes and yes. Kind of whatever works out easiest. It depends, on the size of the collection and what's worth everybody's time, and to make things easier, facilitate things for everybody. So, yeah, a lot of times we'll fly out. We'll come take a look at a collection, or maybe we have, drivers in the area who are already picking up a consignment from, a neighboring city or state, and they might swing through on the way through. But a lot of times things can be submitted actually right to our website, whether it's photos there or photos through email, but it's we got any number of ways to get it done.
Well, it sounds like a good job opportunity for Joe. If you hire Joe to go out to this guy's collection, take a bunch of 150 photos, answer a bunch of questions, then Joe sends that info to you. You guys verify it, and then make the customer a bid or an option.
All you got to do is train Joe up so he has that skill.
Oh,
right?
you know more about guns than most, so I'm just saying.
So now you were saying how you don't just sell like valuable collectibles, that you sell like stock Glocks, that sort of thing. What's the difference? Why would somebody go to an auction to buy a stock Glock as opposed to just going down to a gun store? What makes you guys different?
For some of those items, a lot of times, I say stock Glocks. We do have some Gen 5s, Gen 4s. A lot of times you might find a pair of police trade-ins. Well, if you find a pair, you might get a little better deal on them. Or maybe you find a Gen 1 with the Tupperware container, things like that. No, you're probably not going to find that at a local gun store. Most of the time, if you're looking for a run-of-the-mill, you could buy it at a local store. You could buy it from us. You might get a better price on it. It's all kind of part of an auction.
Interesting. So are there any additional fees if you buy a firearm with Rock Island Auction versus a gun store?
Yeah, and that you should always know about when you're placing your bids, if you're trying to form a budget. We charge, when you win, there's a 15% buyer's premium And that's if you pay with basically any way except a credit card. A credit card, they toss another, I think, 3.5% on there to cover those merchant services fees. But basically 15%. So you win a, $1,000 gun, you're paying $1,150.
So where are
there's also?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say you should also be aware potentially your state may charge tax. Unfortunately, with that whole Wayfair ruling, now we've had to start assessing tax in a couple different states. Actually, the majority of states, and shipping charges.
So where, how does an in-person auction happen? Is it do we say, hey, we want to have an in-person auction here in San Diego, and then items are gathered, or is it more of a, well, hey, we have a bunch of items, and so therefore we need to have an in-person auction? Or how do the logistics work?
Sure. Well, all our auctions are held at our facility in Rock Island, Illinois. So most of the logistics are just at one point getting the guns here, and for that, there's either shipping because we are an FFL, of course, or we do have drivers who, for large collections, may need to pick those up from a consignor's residence. But they're all held in our facility in Rock Island, and it is, I tell you what, it's a beautiful thing when you have one building. Actually, it's two buildings now, but the first one's 86,000 square feet, and a good at least quarter of that is our preview hall, where you can just walk through. Every gun in the auction is set up on display. I should say more an exhibit. We try not to make it just a display. We're trying to show you a little background, a little history on a lot of these guns that have that to offer. And you can pick them up. You can touch them. You can shoulder them. You can see what it feels like in your hands and inspect them. I mean, it's obviously you should be able to do that for an auction. You got to know what's going in your collection and what you're going to spend your money on. But some of these items are, museum-worthy items in every sense of the word, and you're good luck trying to get that kind of access at a museum. So we say, even if you're not going to buy, we encourage people to come to our preview day. It's always the day before our premier auctions and our sporting collector auctions. Just a comfort experience, comfort education, comfort all.
All right, and if you just say you just want, if you're listening and or you've always had an interest, and you just want to dip your toe in the deep end of the pool. What's an easy way to start collecting?
Sure. Well, I found that collecting tends to happen in stages, and it's kind of all what you're interested in. The first stage tends to be, at least for most of us, accumulating. You get all your basic stuff, and you get your shotgun, and you get your deer rifle, and you get your AR, and you get a handgun and a revolver. And after that, it's kind of wherever the mood takes you. I happen to like wheel guns and very, very early Colt semi-automatics. Those really appeal to me. Well, you might like German bolt actions.
You nailed it. That's exactly what I like. German bolt action.
There we go.
Now, let me ask you this. I have a nylon 66 circa 1973. How many, is that 5-6 figures? What are we talking there?
Oh, at least 6.
If you include the decimal points, maybe, right?
Right. But for people to get started, it's what you like. And we always say, and a number of collectors, I can't claim this, there are people smarter than myself who said, but if you're going to, invest a little bit more money in a gun, and you're going to get into this, and you're going to, like you said, dip your toe into the pool, buy the book. Even if it's a $500 book, buy a $500 book before you buy a $5,000 gun.
Now, what's the book? The inventory of what you're selling, or the book on that product?
On that particular gun, and there's the people who have come before us and kind of done the scholarship. So
Gotcha.
You know if it's authentic, you know if it's right, if it has the right markings. You can compare condition, you can compare.
Right.
I mean, all the things that go into a collector firearms purchase.
So, Joel, let me ask you this, because in the car world, like when you go to a car auction, the lesser expensive and the better deals are like on Thursday and Friday. Now, I know a lot of this is generated by television, and then all of a sudden when you get to Saturday and Sunday, that's when the high dollar product, goes across the board. Does that fall the same within your auction where, the lesser, or guns and what have you go earlier in the week, or do you save everything for Saturday?
No, so our auctions are 3 days, at least the big ones, our premier auctions. That's what the world-class firearms are, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When I first started, I would have said that most guns, like most of those heavy hitters, fall on Saturday.
Gotcha.
Well, then this auction came up. I'm kind of in charge of getting all the, what we're going to video as it sells. And I'll be darned if Friday isn't just jam packed. Like we're going to be down there the whole day filming these big dogs that are rolling on Friday. And it's just, so there's not I would say a best day that they always sit on best items. What I will say though, as far as, here's a tip for beginning collectors, if you're going through a catalog, and this is any auction, start from the back, like the last lot, and browse forward. Because everybody's going to browse lot number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then keep going. And then they'll place bids. And as they run out of money or as they win items during the auction, like they'll be done bidding. You will be competing against less people at the end of an auction than you will be at the beginning of an auction. So there's a bidder tip we do like to throw out.
Can we watch your auction online, or can we watch it live, or via, I don't know, Zoom, YouTube, or anything like that?
Yeah, actually, there's a big old button right on our webpage once the auction is started. So once it's live, and that's 9 a.m. every morning, there'll be like a click to watch live.
Oh, cool.
And we'll have live streaming audio, video. You can also use that in our React Live bidding software. So you can even use that same audio video to place bids in real time from your computer, instead of if just sitting around isn't your thing. You can get in on the action too.
What happens if you have like a really nice item, but you just don't have the bidders in the crowd? Is that can you pull it or save it, or you know what I mean? Like what if you're just not quite getting what you think you should get for a really nice item?
In other words, you're asking if you can put a reserve on it?
Some of our consigners are able to put reserves on items. Thankfully, we are of a size enough where we don't really have to worry about it anymore. It might be something you encounter a little more at a smaller auction house. Before an auction starts, of course, we're taking sealed bids, and that's, anyway, I always joke, we'll take a sealed bid any way you can get it to us except a smoke signal. Whether it's emails, we still accept fax and snail mail, but you can call us, you can place them on our website. Before an auction even starts, we might have 20,000 bids.
Wow. So if somebody really wants that item bad enough, they can bid high enough to try to wipe out the competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's the nature of an auction. If you want it bad enough, all you got to do is beat the next guy.
Throw the money at it.
That's awesome. How did you personally get involved in this?
So my wife saw a job listing about 8.5 years ago.
Wow. What were you doing prior?
Oh, man, trying not to go back into banking.
Hey, me too. That's how I got into this.
I was substitute teaching. I was doing whatever I could, but oddly enough, and it's a funny story, and I was writing in my spare time just to keep kind of writing up. I had a blog on craft beer.
Oh, wow.
And just so I would remember all the different things that I had tried and where I had tried them and things like that. And so, I'm taking pictures, I'm writing, I'm posting to social media. And so when this job came up for a guy who writes and takes pictures and does social media, it was kind of an easy fit.
Are you a gun person to begin with?
Yeah, always been more of a history person. I think it started probably a little later than most. I mean, hunting's always been there with the family. I didn't probably get into, U.S. military got me, that bug got me in high school. Mm-hmm. World War II and Vietnam got me in high school. And so, I've been kind of stuck with it ever since.
Mm.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's your website again?
That is rockislandauction.com.
rockislandauction.com.
Mm-hmm. And right now on the site, you can check out, there's 2 auctions on site. One is the premier auction. So it's top of the line, world class. There's a 6-piece set that owned by Napoleon Bonaparte. It's that type of auction.
Whoa.
And then there's also it's the November 22nd. That's one of our arms and accessories. So some fun stuff, some modern stuff, some gun store caliber goodies that you might find.
All right. Cool. Well, hey, it's been great talking to you. It's very, very informative. Thank you for sharing that with you, Joel. And we hope to check out your auction, and I hope I don't buy anything.
Yes.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.